Hey everyone, it's BJ back again with Reef Therapy. Again, follow me on Instagram, and please, if you like my video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Told you guys I'd bring you a video every week. I'm thinking about doing 2 this first week just because we're here and we might as well. A few things to just talk about, some things that are on my mind lately about the tank. So I'm sitting pretty close. Some things that I want to mention about my tank, and I'm thinking, sorry for all the shakiness, I'm thinking about just, you know, doing the standard, here's my tank, here's the equipment that I have on it. So I think that's a good way to start. There's my beautiful blonde Naso tang, easily my most favorite fish, easily you know, a fish with the best, I don't want to say personality, but I don't want to sound crazy if I say fishionality, but I love this fish. It's always right up at the edge of the tank. She looks a little spooked right now. You can see her colors on the side. That's because I just turned off the blue lights for the video. This is a fish that lets me pet it. I don't do that very often, don't think I'm weird, but I love that fish. I do know, and I just want to address it now, this tank is definitely not big enough for me to house that fish long term. I have had it about a year now, and it's definitely grown, and I'm gonna need to find a new home for it eventually. Sadly, I don't really have many plans to upgrade. It was a purchase that I made back when I don't know, earlier days of the tank that I really didn't plan through, so I will take the blame for that. I'm not trying to, you know, not trying to hide like hey, this is a good thing, but thankfully so far it seems very healthy. She eats like crazy. If I can manage to get a tank large enough, I would definitely do it, because I don't want to get rid of the fish, but it's got to do what's best for the fish, you know. Anyways, so as I was going through all that, I was moving the camera all over the place. I'm trying to get you guys a good view, but let's just get straight into what I got running in the tank. I try to run my tank as low cost and as low maintenance as possible. It is 112 gallons, so you know, you can only do that so much, but you know, it's just one of those things. I never started out with being a saltwater guy. I was always freshwater. I really liked goldfish of all fish for whatever reason. My fiance found this tank for sale. It came with the tank and stand, and surprisingly, it was only about $100 for it. But she said, I'm only gonna purchase it on one condition. That one condition is that you have to do saltwater. So I said, okay, you understand how much that's gonna cost, right? Because saltwater is definitely not anywhere near as cheap as freshwater. And she said, no, I don't care, just do it. So I did it. But I do like to be a little, what is the word? Frugal, I guess, with my money. I don't like to just, you know, throw it all away. So I try and run it as efficiently and as cheaply as possible, while getting the results that I want. So you'll definitely notice as I take you around the tank, the most expensive equipment that I have, if you can see back in there, is my Apex, and it's kind of a mess of wires. I'm not really sure, well, I shouldn't say I'm not sure. I honestly haven't gotten around to straightening it up yet. I need to do that. If any of you have any recommendations on wire management, I would love to hear it. The next thing to go on to is the return pump. So I have a Jabo, however you pronounce it. I don't know if anybody's ever actually figured out how to pronounce that name. It's I think it's a DCT 8000 return pump. I run it pretty low, only on like the third notch, second to third notch, depends on the day. I don't like it to go too quickly, but I definitely, that's in part because I use PVC overflows, and I'm sure you guys could tell already that they're pretty loud. So if I run it any faster than that, all they do is gurgle, and it just drives me nuts. My tank is in my living room, so I don't want to listen to that all day, especially because I don't watch TV, so I pretty much just watch the tank. And if I turn it up any higher, it sounds like there's a toilet flushing every, constantly throughout the day. So I just keep it low. I have two wave makers. They're I believe the PP8s, the J-bow or Ye-bow, however you want to pronounce it. This one's on pretty low, actually, only the speed setting 2, and it's on the W2 setting. I did it like this because I wanted a constant push from the left side of the tank. So the left side of the tank is just constantly pushing water straight out. So as you can see, it's just constantly pushing. Then I've got my second PP8 over here, and this one's actually pulsing. And the pulse is actually set at full speed. So I figured I wanted that because it gives a good amount of variance to the flow in the tank. So the right side is pulsing, and the left side is constant. So whenever I feed the tank especially, I can notice that there's a good amount of turbulence over here, and it's like a gyro effect. So this side has its own gyro effect, and then literally straight down the middle there's another gyro effect on the right side, and it works out very well. The corals seem to love it. You can pretty much tell with the Gani down here how the flow is working out. It's a little bit better when the return pump is actually on. You can really notice it a lot better. There is a single Siche power head in the front. Again, I just wanted something to put some more flow right down here in the bottom for these corals, but not too much. So it's just a small Siche pump. Again, it's been working great. These are all my lower flow corals down in the bottom, so they really appreciate it. It gets that water movement through there. It also helps keep that part of the sand bed clean, because that's easily the most open part of the tank. So it does its job. Going down to the bottom again. Sorry for the lights, but refugium time, the lights are pretty much always on. I got a single heater. Honestly, the heater is going to be replaced soon. It's not even worth talking about. It was a used heater I got from someone. It doesn't really, it's not even that big. Honestly, my fiance likes to leave the apartment so warm that the apartment is my heater, basically. So there's no flow going on. I don't know if you could see it. I guess I could turn off a light or two. Let me try. There we go. So I do have a bubble mag. I think it's the 7. I think it's the 7. Again, I found that used. I didn't used to run a skimmer, but I found it. It was a good price, so I was like, okay, after 2.5 years, I guess I'll throw a skimmer on this thing. And it's been doing the job. It's underpowered for this tank, but that's fine with me because I run a massive chamber full of the Chaetomorpha. It's basically just baking all day long, but it does a great job of reducing my nitrates to 0 or undetectable. I do have to trim off the top layer right now, but I'll do that after this is over. This whole chamber is just filled with this Chaetomorpha. The water has to flow through it, and it just grows like crazy. I do believe that it reaches like kind of a maximum threshold for this space, and then it stops growing, and I believe I'm at that point. So I definitely need to cut it out, but I can literally cut out 75% of this, and then the next week it'll be grown back. It just grows so quickly. I like to feed my tank heavily. I got a lot of corals, I got a lot of fish, so I like to make sure they're well fed. But honestly, that was a recent change, because I used to feed so little, and I don't know, it just wasn't good. I started trying to dose nitrates with stump remover, and it just caused a bunch of problems. So now I'm just going with feed the fish, let the fish feed the corals. Sometimes I go and actually feed the corals, which is usually every weekend, about 3 o'clock in the morning. Both Friday and Saturday nights, I'll wake up and I'll feed the corals, mysis, and reefroids. by hand, of course, to the tank, to each coral that I feel like needs to be fed. It's just part of my routine and taking care of the tank. So here's the return pump. It's caked up. I pretty much always know that it's been that way, but I keep it that way just for some extra filtration, I suppose. The display tank is basically crystal clear all the time, so I do what I feel like, you know, has been okay for a while. I got a couple float switches back there. There's a high and a low. Since the return pump is off, the water is definitely above it. That keeps the auto top off from going. That keeps the dosers from doing anything, not trying to knock anything out of whack. So again, that's held up with the breakout box. And then I got the apex, and I got another power bar over there. I'm using this little black, I don't even know what this is. Whatever it is, that's just kind of a shield to protect that power bar a little bit. This isn't really an ideal setup. A lot of modification has gone through since I put up the tank. So I'm just doing what I can with what I got. So the return pump, the timer just went off. Everything's going back. You can see the float switches are going down. Everything's right at the level I want it to be at. So that's good. Now you can hear the noise, basically. So the equipment that I have is all pretty silent. It sounded like my skimmer needed to be cleaned. It sounded like it was a little clogged up, so I should do that today as well. But here's the rest of under the stand. So I got my again, Yaewo DP4 doser. This thing has been spot on accurate. I haven't had any problems with it yet, knock on wood. Don't want any problems. Got my dosing containers. I was very fortunate to get these dosing containers and the doser off of somebody. I think I paid like 40 bucks to have it shipped, both of these things together. So it's been amazing for my tank. Everything's been running great since I've had it. I have no complaints with that doser at all. It's easily worth the money that I spent on it. So this side, again, I got this aqua lifter. That's part of my ATO. And then I got this spout here. And that spout, honestly, I wish I would have just took it off. When I redo my plumbing one day, I will. I haven't used it ever since the old setup. It's basically just sitting there waiting for something to go wrong with it. So I definitely want to cut that out. I don't want that there anymore. I don't use it for anything. Alright, so that's under the tank. Now it's time for over the tank. Right now, sorry if I blind any of you, I have 3 SB Reef lights. I'm going to equate these to the 16-inch basic because, I mean, they're 16-inch boxes. I actually used the SB Reef light retrofit boards and stuck them inside of some old black boxes that I had. The switch was actually very easy. Thankfully, I didn't have to do any plug changes or anything. I just had to cut the case, which I bought a $15 Dremel off of Amazon and some metal cutting, I don't know what they're called, wheels, I guess, and just easily sliced through the case and stuck the new boards in, got a new piece of glass. I have absolutely no complaints about the SB Reef lights. They've been growing my corals like crazy. I've been seeing awesome colors coming out of them. I am so glad that I had switched those out. I did recently decide to add this third one in the middle because I have this gigantic glass brace and it was blocking a lot of light with just 2. Plus my tank is 5 feet long, so I needed something else in the middle. So I definitely needed to add a third one, and the corals have been thanking me for it, and you know, they've just been growing like crazy. And you'll also notice I have a single T5 strip light. I don't know if you can really tell, but it's there. That's a sun blaster fixture. I kind of jerry-rigged it and attached it to the SB Reef lights itself. And I angle it back for a couple of reasons. One is just because I want it to be as close to over the center of the tank as possible. But 2 is because these LEDs are so high off the water. When I'm sitting on my couch, they used to blind the crap out of me and my family. So I was like, I need to figure out something with this. I didn't want to build a hood or anything like that. So what I did was I attached that T5 strip and I tried to hang it down low enough to the point where it actually blocks those LEDs from me being able to see them on the couch, but it doesn't block them at all from hitting the tank. I know that's not a great view, but that's what it is. So I can sit on my couch, I'm not blinded, the tank gets the light, and everything looks great. I really can't be more happy about it. So that's a single purple plus bulb in there. Right now the blue lights are not on in the tank. It still looks great, which is really what I want to go for. I'm a big fan of corals under white lights. I will admit that I'm running far higher blue light percentage than white lights or the white channel, but I do prefer it to look this way. The colors are great, and you know, it's just nice on the eyes, honestly, to me. Okay, so I built this shelf. It's part of the tank, so I guess might as well talk about it. Got some hooks up there. If you're looking for a way to hook up your SB Reef lights, this is a great way. It's easy to get into, it's easy to take down, it's sturdy. So, you know, I just got those little S hooks on those eyelets right there. Keeps them all at the same height, which is amazing. I used to hang them up by chains, and I used to be so annoyed with the fact that they would hang at different heights, or they'd hang kind of sideways. And I'm not very handy, so it's probably just, you know, my own fault, but it is what it is. Okay, next I mentioned earlier I have PVC overflows. So there's one there that's a 2-inch pipe with there's a 1-inch pipe on the inside that actually acts as the overflow. So there's a 2-inch pipe on the outside that acts as the weir. I got that on both sides of the tank, and I'll try and back up. You really can't tell that they're there, which is what I like the most about them, but I hate that they're so loud. I think there are some ways to silence them a little bit more, but I haven't really gotten into it. Honestly, if I could have my way, I would replace the tank as much as I love it. I love this old tank. It's definitely got some years on it though. This tank is 20 years old this year. So back in, like, I don't know, like in March or something like that. This is a 20-year-old tank. When I first set it up, I wasn't considering anything about like leaking or the seals or anything like that. I just put water in it, made sure it was good to go, and then, you know, filled it up. So it's definitely, and again, knock on some wood, it definitely needs to be resealed. Hopefully I can get to that or replace the tank before anything bad happens. So it might be pretty soon. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I don't really know what else to talk about, have anything else to talk about. This over here, I do have a dedicated camera hooked up with a nice ghetto rigged gel filter over the lens so that I can see through the blue lights whenever I need to. Constant monitoring of the tank visual and all that, especially with the apex. Yeah. So if you have any questions, if you want to know about anything, let me know. I'll end the video again with a little bit of a video of the corals and the fish. Thanks for stopping by. Please don't forget to rate the video. Thumbs up, thumbs down, however it works on YouTube. Comment and subscribe. I appreciate it. I'll just do my best here to get some good shots. I just got this one here, the red dragon. I just got that today. I drip acclimated it, dipped it, and threw it right in the tank. Loving it already. Hopefully it does well. So probably next video, just while I have the idea in my mind, I'll write it down. We'll talk about I'll talk about my process of introducing new corals to the tank. I think some of you might be surprised at what I do. So if you're interested, you know, definitely come back. All right, thanks everyone.